All right, good afternoon, class, and welcome back to Science 10. So this picture is a number of different animals, and the question up there is, what do these species have in common? This picture of the woolly mammoth, the great auk, the dodo bird, saber-toothed tiger, Tasmanian wolf, Labrador duck, and the passenger pigeon. And as one of you already said, they are all extinct. They're no longer to be found anywhere on the earth, not even a zoo. So, what are we going to look at today? Mass extinctions. How many times has this happened in the past? And is it happening today? Is it something that only happened a long time ago? Everybody thinks remembers one, because we all saw that great movie, Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs. No more dinosaurs. They are extinct, but there's more than that. So we're going to look at mass extinctions today. One time, there was over 500 million different species, not individual organisms, but different types of plants and animals on the earth. And now, over 90% of them are gone, extinct. And if we keep up our way we're living right now, we're going to be probably the only ones left on this planet looking for something to eat. And you happen to be a little bit fat, you might look tasty to somebody else. So you got to take care of the animals and the plants. 100 years ago, one species a year became extinct. 100 years ago, so one a year. But now, it only takes one a day. One every day is being lost. We don't have 500 million anymore. Remember, there's only 10% of what was originally here. So what does it mean? An extinct animal is one that no longer lives here, no longer exists. And scientists believe that extinction is natural. It can be natural. There wasn't people on this planet forever. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old, but we've only been here for a couple million, about 2 million. And actually, the modern age probably only started about 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. Scientists believe extinctions can be natural, and it doesn't mean that the species is a failure. It just means the world has changed. And we know that it's changed because animals in the past didn't look like what they are today. Just look at that woolly mammoth. We still have elephants, but they don't have as much hair on them, of course, and their tusks are not as big and as curved as them. It normally takes millions of years for a species to disappear. Usually takes it. But now if we're seeing it, one species a day, it's a big difference for millions of years. Here's a little graph, and it shows you the big episodes, and I'll just go over those. But you can see there that 245 million years ago, that's this part right here. 250 million years ago, 80% of all the species died in one event. And the event took millions of years. It didn't happen in a day or a second. It took a while. But you can see the first one started, here's the Earth, about 4.5 billion years old. And then we have the first one around 2,500 million years. That's when the atmosphere started to change on the Earth. That's when the carbon dioxide was being replaced by oxygen. So anything that was living on carbon dioxide died, and things that started to live were things that could take in oxygen. And then 500 million years, there was a big change in the climate. So a lot of things that lived in the ocean died off. And it happened again 438 million years ago and 360. There was a lot of volcanic activity then. The climate had changed. And whenever there's big climate change, it affects the people that live on it. The one that you're probably familiar with, 65 million years ago, the last big one. That's when the dinosaurs died. And they believe that was caused by an asteroid hitting the Earth, which changed the climate. And I can show you a bit about that. If you were to take pictures, and when you're out in space, say you can take a picture from a satellite, there are these big craters in the Earth. There's a great big one here called the Dome. This is in South Africa. Okay? That one there is 2 billion years old. 2 billion years old. Sudbury, Ontario. I don't know if any of you have been to Ontario, Northern Ontario, but there's a big crater there. And that one's from a meteor that hit the Earth. A meteor hit the Earth there, and actually that's one of the richest nickel deposits in the world. It hit so hard, it caused a lot of the volcanic material to come up to the Earth, and it carried a lot of nickel with it. When the astronauts were preparing to go to the moon, that's where they went to train, because the landscape up there is almost like the moon. It's so desolate. Another one here in Canada, look at that, a lake that forms a circle. That's another crater. That's in Quebec, and that's 212 million years ago. It's 100 kilometers wide, 100 kilometers. That's more than the distance between here and Campbellton. So some of these things are very, very large. And these, what they show is that things from outer space have hit the Earth in the past. And they have caused, climate changes on our Earth. Now, before humans, this is what they thought were one of the major effects for mass extinctions. Down in Mexico, this is called the Yucatan Peninsula. See right here in yellow? There was an asteroid that hit right in there. Here you can see part of it on land. That's the same thing. And then it was out into the water, into the ocean. They know it hit there, an asteroid, because there was a debris that was left from the asteroid. And you can go all the way through there and you can follow it and trace it. When it hit there, it was like these nuclear bombs going off. And so much ash went up in the air that it kind of clouded the sunlight, changed the climate, and the dinosaurs needed hot temperatures. They slowly died. So the asteroid is what they figure caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. That particular crater there is 170 kilometers wide in diameter. So it's a big one. And that happened 65 million years ago. That's when the dinosaurs disappeared. Here we know that things hit the Earth. This is the moon. Big craters on the moon. We also see them on Jupiter's moon. Here's another one on Earth's moon. And here's one on Mars. So there's things flying around in space, and when they hit the planets and hit the moon, they cause a lot of damage. There's so much impact. There's no atmosphere on the moon here, so there's nothing to change as far as climate goes. But on the Earth, there is an atmosphere, so it would change the climate on our planet. So other causes other than asteroids, well, there's been natural climate changes. There's been ice ages when things got really cold. And things were like around here, we would bury under a mile of ice. One of the things that died because of climate changes is a type of caribou in the Arctic. Apparently, caribou is gone. Also, this one called the long goose lace. Some exotic fish came in, and when you introduce something that's not native to some place, it'll change what's living there. Okay? So if you bring in something that is not native to that area, like a fish that'll eat other fish, or a shellfish that takes the food, or an animal that would become the most predominant predator, it changes and it could kill out the other animal. Human activities in modern times is another reason why there's mass extinctions. Things like oil exploration, logging, cutting down our forest. What happens when you cut down the forest? No places for the animals to live. So they're threatened. And so things like owls and the buffalo, the bison, the caribou are being threatened by human activities. Humans coming in and taking over the land. So we have asteroids, climate changes, pressures of competition from other species, and human activities. There's 4 reasons right there for mass extinctions. Now, we looked at how it trended here. The rate means how fast is it going. Like you can walk at the same pace and you'll be moving, but all of a sudden if you go from walking to running, then your rate changes. Well, here you can see that the extinction of animals goes from 1970, 1980, 1985, and bang, it starts to go exponentially. It's climbing a lot faster. So the number of species that are dying is increasing at an alarming rate. You can see here, between 8,000 years ago and 1,600 years, around 1,600, one species every 1,000 years died. One every 1,000. And then in 300 years, between 1,600 and 1,900, one every 4 years. And then since 1900, every 30 minutes. Every half hour, another species is dying. So which ones are we losing? Which ones are going to be at risk? Well, where we know we've lost things like dinosaurs, we lost things like the dodo bird and the pigeons. Well, here's one that we no longer see. Just recently, the black rhino. It went extinct in 2011. That's only 7 years ago. This one here, an otter, Japan, river otter, 2012, no longer, no more left. And this leopard, 5 years ago, Formosan clouded leopard, another species that's gone. So, I'm going to stop it there. Tomorrow we'll talk more about these endangered animals. But today you're going to be looking at, give me reasons why the rate of extinction from 8,000 BC to early 21st, how are humans affected that? And what's the largest mass extinction? When was it? Remember I told you it was way back, about 245 million years ago. And the most famous extinction was out of the dinosaurs. When did that happen? That's on your chart in there. And what is the most promising theories that cause extinction? And what is the estimate of the number of species that inhabit this planet? Does anybody remember how many? It was a big, big number. It's right on the first slide. And what has happened to more than 90% of these species? They didn't just go for a visit, for a vacation out in space. They're gone forever. So that's it. I'm going to hand out these assignments. I think I've got copies here, and we'll see you on Thursday.